Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome back to the Nashville Superspeedway as we are here for the third feature event of the season in the Wawa Pro Series Season number 2. This is the Music City 100K, 47 laps of action around this 1 1/3 mile speedway. We should have ourselves a very entertaining race here today. If the sprint race and yesterday's Hers Dash Series race are any measure, we should have a lot of passing for the race lead and a lot of guys washing up the racetrack, and that always accounts for an entertaining event. One thing though, we've yet to have a caution in either of the races we've had so far this weekend. Hopefully we keep that streak up. But with 47 laps here today, a bit on the shorter side of the race length, still could see a yellow flag if someone gets a little too antsy in this event. In the sprint race 2 days ago, Zach Winkle grabbed the race victory, but the fastest lap went to William Brock. William Brock also finished second in that sprint race, so William Brock gaining 3 points towards the championship on Sunday. We'll have to see if he can hold on to the pole position and keep the race lead and get the race victory and get 12 points towards the championship. The thing is, though, the pole sitter in both races so far haven't really had too much success in either the sprint race or the Hers Dash Series race that we had yesterday. So we'll have to see what William Brock can do starting from the pole position here at the Nashville Superspeedway. Been a long time since we've done a race here outside of the races we've had so far this weekend. It's almost been 2 years since we've done the Cup Series here, and that was back in 2020. But great to be back here and around the Nashville Superspeedway here for this third race of the season. And definitely excited to see how this race plays out here for 47 laps. In the point standings coming into this second race, or should I say the third race of the season, Trey Wright holds on to the points lead still. He won the first feature event at Daytona. He's got a 2-point lead on Gary Corelli. Zachary Fitzwater only 5 points behind. Willow Springs winner Fisher G is 6 points behind, and Thomas Troxel 8 points behind coming into today's feature event. Like I mentioned, the number 23 of William Brock starting on the pole position here today at the Nashville Superspeedway alongside him. Number 28 of Brennan Wilmington grabbed the second fastest time in the sprint race on Sunday. A great opportunity for Wilmington to get his first win in this series. Tyreek Hartman, true rookie here to the channel, starting third alongside Ryan Madden in row number 2. Dylan Young alongside Alexander Rowe in row number 3. We have Brad Stover, Zachary Fitzwater making up row number 4. Joey Hightower and Landon Smith Jr. making up the 5th row of this event. And that rounds out the top 10. In row number 6, you have Vlad Prescott and Hunter Braxton. In row number 7, right behind him, it's Jesse Turner, a defending Wawa Pro Series champion, to the inside of Scott Upton. There's Gary Corelli and Zach Winkle. Zach Winkle won the sprint race on Sunday. Got the 16th fastest lap. We'll have to see what he can do there starting in that outside lane in the 16th position. Nicholas Samadio to the inside of Seth Cole in row number 9. Chris Reynolds and Thomas Troxel. Justin Zeidel alongside his teammate Chase Buck there in row number 11. Trey Wright, the Daytona winner, to the inside of Eric Monaco. Roberto Cram Jr., our last feature winner, Fisher G. Christopher Alphaby, Ben Young. And then Jacob Walker and Ashland Boyd, who didn't even really start the sprint race on Sunday as he had a gearbox issue coming across the start-finish line. 47 laps for these guys to get it right. And I think any of these guys can get the race victory here today. It's going to be a wild first couple of laps, but then it'll settle in. That's what we saw in the Hers Dash Series race yesterday. And we will have a cycle of pit stops as well, about a 30-lap fuel run here around this 1 1/3 mile speedway. William Brock and Brendan Wilmington on the front row. Pace car is down the pit lane. We're green flag racing in the Music City 100 here at Nashville. And in the wall already, Ryan Madden in the 95, just a little too wide off the exit of the corner. He started 4th, but he is going to fall way outside the top 10 at the start of the race. And for the race lead, Tyreek Hartman in the number 61. Looking to lead, I believe, his first ever lap on the channel. He's going to do so here at Nashville on lap number 1 of the Music City 100K. 3 wide behind him, Brad Stover to the inside of Dylan Young, and William Brock there for the second position. Vlad Prescott right behind those guys, and Jesse Turner in line as well. And all that battling going on for the second positions, allowing Tyreek Hartman to pull away here in this race. Brad Stover holding on to second now. Vlad Prescott, Jesse Turner on the inside lane, and William Brock. Once again, the pole sitter is struggling early on here at Nashville. That outside lane is not at all where you want to be. And William Brock definitely at a bit of a disadvantage as he's now 4 wide as they go into the corner. Justice Idell, Brendan Wilmington there. Wilmington's going to slide up the racetrack just a little bit there in the number 28 machine. Landon Smith Jr. there on the inside lane in the 73. He's making some moves there to the inside of Chris Reynolds and Nicholas Samadillo. Gary Corelli now up to second as they continue to shuffle all the way back through the field. Brad Stover now in the third position there as Jesse Turner pulls outside of the fourth position. Here comes Landon Smith Jr. to the inside of Dylan Young there. That is for the fifth position, and Justin Zidell moving through the field very well in this race. Vlad Prescott losing a little bit of ground right there. There goes Landon Smith Jr. to the inside of Jesse Turner, but with all that, Tyreek Hartman has led every lap so far in this race. Great run there for the Andrews Racing driver. And Gary Corelli has had a great season so far. A good opportunity of taking the points lead if he finishes where he is right now. Landon Smith Jr. up to third. Here comes Justin Zidell in the 47 to the inside of Jesse Turner. Dylan Young. And how about Trey Wright? He started deep in the field in the 11th row, and here he is already inside the top 10. And Stover almost in the outside wall right there. He lost a lot of grip there through the exit of the corner. Jacob Walker started 29th in this race. We saw this in the Hers Dash Series race. We saw it in the sprint race. These guys have been moving through the field like crazy at the start of these events here in Nashville. I've never seen anything quite like it before, but we've had a lot of shuffling going on throughout the field here around this 1 1/3 mile speedway. Here comes Gary Corelli for the race lead. He's going to take it away there from Tyreek Hartman here on lap number 6. Landon Smith Jr. in line to possibly take a position from both of these guys if they mess up. Dylan Young there under fire from Justin Zidell. Great to see Justin Zidell with a good run here. Been a bit of a tough start to the season for Zidell, and no points on the season coming into this event. Here he is looking to take the fourth position away from Dylan Young as the top three have kind of pulled away from the field. 1.5 seconds on the rest of the field right here. Landon Smith Jr. is going to take advantage of that mistake out of Tyreek Hartman. He just lost the grip on the car off the exit of turn 2. And now Hartman down to the third position in the 61. There goes Trey Wright. Hartman's teammate there in Andrews Racing to the inside for fourth. Just like that, Zidell must have washed it up the racetrack. And here comes Seth Cole in number 82. Moving to the inside of Trey Wright for position. Joey Hightower back in here. Zachary Fitzwater. Ryan Madden actually rebounding after he had his issue at the start of the race. Madden back inside the top 10 now. There's just no grip, though, on that inside lane right now. There's just so little grip out there. And these guys are essentially on ice around this entire racetrack. Brendan Wilmington has started on the outside pole, is now in the last position. You get stuck on that outside lane, there's just nowhere to go at all. It looks like Zidell may have solidified his position, though, in that fourth position. And yet Joey Hightower to the inside of Seth Cole. Zachary Fitzwater moving up in the 59 as well. But Gary Corelli, Landon Smith Jr., Tyreek Hartman, they've kind of solidified their positions on the racetrack here. And they're comfortably in those top 3 positions. Joey Hightower looking to take fourth away from Zidell. And Zidell's going to wash it up the racetrack, allow for Fitzwater to get around. And Seth Cole is coming as well on the 82 machine. Good run there for Seth Cole here in this one. How about Hunter Braxton, Thomas Troxel? They're moving their way inside the top 10 now. As Zidell is on that outside lane, losing a lot of positions. Chase Buck here in the 09. Gonna get around Jesse Turner there. Closing rate is really something else right now. We've never seen racing quite like this before at the Nashville Superspeedway. First time we've used this track, I went into that I&I, and what I did is I gave the track a little bit more grip, but I gave the drivers a little bit less grip, and this is the result of that. And I like what we're seeing. It's a little goofy, but we've had clean racing. I mean, we've had a couple guys get some stripes on the wall, but outside of that, these guys have kept it clean. this entire weekend. No cautions this entire weekend here at the Nashville Superspeedway. And you might not believe me when I say that, and you see this 3 wide going on in the back of the field. Brandon Wilmington trying to move his way back to the field. Jacob Alker's now gone to the back of the field again. He moved himself inside the top 10 at one point, and now he's in the last position again. They just keep on shuffling around deep in the field. Roberto Crown Jr. way up the racetrack there in the 42. Vlad Prescott was up front at one point, so was Brendan Wilmington. He started up front. Brad Stover as well. They've all lost a lot of ground. And Trey Wright, Dylan Young, they got stuck in that outside lane, and they fell way back. Now, as this field spreads out, it gets a little less likely that those guys are going to fall back, and I think that's what you're seeing there with Corelli, Landon Smith Jr., Tyreek Hartman. Seth Cole has kind of solidified his spot there. You now have Thomas Troxel in the 5th position. You have Fitzwater, Hightower, a battle there between Hamill Racing Enterprises teammates, Chase Buck, Justin Zidell, and Hunter Braxton in the last points-paying position. Next race is on a road course at Road America, so that fastest lap's going to mean quite a bit. And guess who has it? Ben Young, 24, who's kind of deep through the field right now. Kind of mired way back in there, but you get that pole position for that sprint race. That could mean a pole position for the feature event, considering that it is at a road course. Number 73, Landon Smith Jr. has the 2nd fastest lap of this race. Brendan Wilmington has the fastest one. Gary Corelli is leading this race, and Dylan Young, top 5 in terms of that fastest lap right now. There's Chase Buck to the inside of Thomas Troxel, and an issue on the 21. Terminal issue on the 21 as well. Oh, this may be a yellow. If he doesn't get back around, or if these guys can't figure it out. Scott Upton really had to check up there. So did Roberto Crown Jr. And I'm not feeling too good about that. He stopped on the racetrack and no caution has come out, and he's going to get back around before the leaders come back around. They could have easily called a caution there, and they decided not to. What a tough break there for Thomas Troxel. He could have easily received some championship points in this race. That will not be the case for the driver, the number 21. At Cropley Motorsports. And Seth Cole here has kind of found himself in that 4th position. Joey Hightower there. Fitzwater trying to hold off Chase Buck. And William Brock's gotten around Hunter Braxton for the 9th position, but Braxton's still in the points currently in the number 88 machine. You got Ryan Madden to the inside of Christopher Alphavy. There's Zach Winkle, who won the sprint race on Sunday. He's trying to hold off Chris Reynolds there in the number 22 machine. Now it's when the racing gets a little interesting. The tire wear is starting to come into effect for these guys, and they've spread out quite a bit. So that frequent passing that we saw earlier on in the race is no more. These guys are going to have to work for their positions here. Tyreek Hartman's fallen off a little bit from the top 2 right there. He's now in the clutches of Seth Cole, but Landon Smith Jr. continues to work in the tire tracks of Gary Corelli. Corelli's looking for, I believe, it's going to be his 2nd win of his career. He did win the sprint race at Willow Springs last time out. But he's now looking for a feature win and the points lead. Trey Wright nowhere to be found in that top 10. So Corelli would easily take the points lead heading into the next race at Road America. There's Trey Wright in the 69 machine. He is currently running in the 17th position. He moved up a couple of positions right there, getting around Brendan Wilmington and Ben Young. Eric Monaco there in the 75 as well. And what we saw yesterday in the Hers Dash Series race, and it was a bit interesting, is some guys decided to take no tires on their pit stop. They still had 10 laps to go, but they took no tires, and that was not at all the move to go, because pretty much everyone who went with that strategy fell outside the top 10 and did not receive championship points. May not technically work out that way for these guys, because they're still going to have about 18, 20 laps to go once they're done with their cycle. So I don't think we're going to see anybody try to play that strategy. However, you never know. Tires are going to be critical, and whoever takes tires is going to win the race. Or should I say, whoever wins the race would have taken tires on their pit stop in this race, because there's no way you can go this whole race in one set and be able to hold everybody off who did take tires under the pit stop. Jesse Turner down in the back of the field there, and Troxel getting back out there in the 21 machine. Currently shown 4 laps down in the number 21. Now, even though we had all that passing in the back of the field, we've only had 2 different leaders in this race. That's Gary Corelli and Tyree Cartman. 2 of the least experienced drivers in this field leading here so far at Nashville, so they're doing an excellent job. Landon Smith Jr., though, on the other hand, looking to find a way around this 18 machine before the cycle begins. He's been closing in ever so slightly. Here comes Seth Cole, though, for 3rd. And Hartman's going to wash it up the racetrack, and Seth Cole's going to take that 3rd position away. Joey Hightower is in 5th. Chase Buck is 6th. William Brock, Zachary Fitzwater, Justin Zeidel, now Ryan Madden. Both Ryan Madden and Christopher Alphaby have gotten around Hunter Braxton. Alphaby just outside the top 10. He's looking for his first points of the season. Same with Tyree Cartman. Same with Justin Zeidel. We'll have to see if any of them do, in fact, get points here today. And Joey Hightower as well is yet to receive any championship points this season. So, see a few guys get their first points of the year. Landon Smith Jr. as well has yet to receive any championship points on the season. William Brock is looking really fast. He grabbed the fastest lap in the sprint race on Sunday. He just got around Chase Buck right there. And now he's going to have his eyes set on Joey Hightower for a top 5, and he may easily get it here on this 55 machine. Gary Corelli's been able to hold off this 73 so far. They're on lap 24 of 47. We are now halfway through this Music City 100K here at Nashville. Bit of a faster race here than some of the other ones we'll have this season. A bit of a shorter race, only 100 kilometers for these guys. William Brock looking on Hightower here for the 5th position. And Ryan Madden under fire here from Christopher Alphy for that final point. Madden is going to look to the inside of Zeidel for the 9th position. Unable to get to the inside of him right there, and Hightower washed it up the racetrack. There goes William Brock for 5th. Tyree Cartman there in the 4th position. William Brock definitely one of the faster cars right now in this number 23 machine. We'll have to see if he can get around the 61 before the cycle begins. And just a couple of laps, we'll be seeing our guys come down the pit lane here. Gary Corelli has put 3.5 seconds on 3rd place, but he's not been able to shake Landon Smith Jr. But Corelli has been driving a clean wheel, and you see Landon Smith Jr. just overdrive the corner a little bit there, and that's going to cost Landon Smith Jr. a couple of tenths right there. Gary Corelli, though, holding on to this race lead. He's led the most laps so far in this race. Only 2 different leaders so far. As we see William Brock and Joey Hightower both move to the inside of Tyree Cartman. So Hartman definitely falling off now in the 61 machine. The tires definitely going away on that car. Christopher Alphaby has gotten around Ryan Madden. Ryan Madden's gotten around Justin Zeidel, but Zeidel going to try again on the 95 right here for that last point. Right outside the top 10 for Zeidel at the moment, trying to get his first points of the season, but so is Ryan Madden in the 95. Neither of those drivers have received any championship points yet this season. Same with Chris Reynolds, who's here in the 12th position battling with these guys. Gonna be 20 laps to go next time by. We're well past halfway now in this race, but we still have that cycle of pit stops left to go. Seth Cole is now going to be under fire from William Brock. William Brock is definitely one of the fastest cars on the racetrack at the moment. Ben Young still holds on to the fastest lap in this race, but that was earlier on in the run before the tires wore out. William Brock right here in the 23 machine going to do all he can to get around this 82 machine. But Seth Cole is also pretty fast, but not fast enough to hold on to the 18 of Corelli and the 73 of Landon Smith Jr. Those guys have really pulled away, and they continue to pull away each lap. Chase Buck has now found himself inside the top 10. Or actually, he's fallen back. Excuse me. He was already inside the top 10. Alphaby is moving himself back up through the field. He's now in the 8th position there in the number 10 machine. Fitzwater there in 7th. Now Ryan Madden holding on to that last points-paying position in the 10th position. There goes William Brock for 3rd on Seth Cole. And just before the cycle of pit stops here, William Brock has a lot of speed in that 23. He may be able to find himself to the race lead after the cycle, but he's got 4.5 seconds to do so here on Gary Corelli and Landon Smith Jr. I think either Smith Jr. or Gary Corelli is going to get this race victory. I don't know if anyone else is going to have an opportunity to get it here today. William Brock, 4.5 seconds behind at the moment. Has been slicing through the field very well. And here we go. Cycle is beginning. Landon Smith Jr. down the pit lane. Seth Cole, Tyree Cartman, Christopher Alphaby. I think coming in a lap early is going to be an advantage. Eric Monaco, Scott Upton, Brad Stover were already down. We'll have to see if they all gain any time on the field. Monaco's going to be the one who gets out ahead of all those guys in the 75 machine. And there's Landon Smith Jr. as the first driver to come down of these guys. I think we should be expecting the rest of the field to come down this time by. There's Gary Corelli. There's William Brock in the 23. Troxel, of course, has already been down the pit lane, but he's multiple laps down after he had his issue. We'll have to see what Eric Monaco can do in this 75. I have a feeling he may be able to get something to go his way here. Possibly. I could be wrong about that. There's Landon Smith Jr. coming off the pit lane there. Seth Cole in the 82. But Monaco's going to find himself inside the top 10, I think, once this is all said and done. Of course, everyone taking tires here, which is definitely the way to go. So we're not going to see what we saw yesterday in terms of these drivers going no tires and losing a lot of ground. There's Gary Corelli coming off there. Here's Landon Smith Jr. in the 73, and that 73 has all the momentum now, and I think we're going to see ourselves a pass for the race lead. Oh boy, that was a tight one there, but not too tight. Landon Smith Jr. can take it away there from Gary Corelli. Seth Cole is third. Christopher Alphaby up to fourth. Eric Monaco up to fifth. That was a great strategy call out of that 75 team. Otterella Motorsports won the Hearst Dash Series race yesterday. Will they get it again? That 75 machine. Tyree Cartman. Great jump for him there. Well, he's actually pretty much in the same position he was in when that cycle began in 6th. Ryan Madden is 7th. William Brock down to 8th after he was slicing his way through the field. Joey Hightower, Justin Zidell, the top 10. Chase Buck there, just outside the top 10 with Hunter Braxton right behind him. Fisher G in 13th. Ben Young 14th. Scott Upton. Zachary Fitzwater lost a lot of ground on that cycle. He's now down to the 16th. Reynolds, Trey Wright, Brendan Williamson, Vlad Prescott, Roberto Crown Jr., Zach Winkle. A sprint winner has been nowhere to be found here today. Ashlyn Boyd, Brad Stover, Nicholas Samedeo, Jacob Walker, Alexander Rowe, Dylan Young, Jesse Turner way off the pace there, and our top 2 drivers getting into lap traffic. That's Thomas Troxel, who's now 2 laps down, but he hasn't taken fresh tires in quite some time. Gary Corelli is not going to let Landon Smith Jr. have this race easy, though. That's 73 trying to hold on, but Corelli's right there, but Seth Cole is closing in. 1.91 seconds for Seth Cole right now. Christopher Alphaby only 3 seconds behind. So all these guys, Landon Smith Jr., Gary Corelli, they had their 4.5 second lead when that cycle began. It's gone away. Here's Seth Cole getting around Thomas Troxel now. Differential across the line stayed about the same, and considering Seth Cole had to get around Thomas Troxel, I say that's pretty good for the 82 machine. 12 laps to go here in the Music City 100K. Well, this race is far from over for these guys, but definitely going to come down to, I think, the top 4. I don't think Monaco's going to have enough speed to get up there before the end of the race, but he will probably get a top 5. Chase Buck moving himself through the field here. Zidell's now outside of the points in the number 47. Hightower in the last points paying position right now in the 55. Seth Cole trying to close in here, but he did lose some ground right there. But Christopher Alphaby looking pretty fast in that number 10 machine. And Alphaby might find himself in a podium position here at the end of this one. Monaco getting around the 21. Monaco's essentially stayed around the same distance from the race leaders here during this cycle. Seth Cole closed in another 2/10 that lap. And Alphaby about the same distance as well. Oh, and Landon Smith Jr. washed it up the racetrack. There goes Corelli to the inside. And 10 laps to go. Gary Corelli's going to take the lead back away from Landon Smith Jr. Corelli has had an excellent race. He's been one of the cleanest drivers in this race so far. However, Landon Smith Jr. in a position to cross back over, and he's going to move to the inside and try to get that 18 on the outside lane, but that did not work for Landon Smith Jr. He could not hold the inside, and Gary Corelli holding on to this race lead. That's going to bring Seth Cole in. He gained a half a second that lap because of that pass, and I don't think these guys are going to pull away anymore after Landon Smith Jr. tried to dive bomb that 18. Corelli now pulling away just a little bit. It's 8 laps to go in this Music City 100K, and Landon Smith Jr. again washes it up the racetrack. He's been doing that all race, but Corelli has not done that once this entire race. At least not to my knowledge. I haven't seen him do it. I've seen Landon Smith Jr. do it a couple of times. Seth Cole trying to strike on this 73 and possibly have a shot at that second position. Meanwhile, for 5th. Oh, and William Brock in the 23 with an issue. He's back down the pit lane. And William Brock will fail to get points. Same with Joey Hightower in the 55. There's 2 guys coming down the pit lane here. Both with issues. Both drivers were running top 10 at one point. And now they're going to fall outside the points and fail to receive anything here in this race. A tough break for those guys. Seth Cole is there on Landon Smith Jr. I know this 82 wants to get around the 73 and have an opportunity at the race win there on Gary Corelli. We'll have to see if he can... Oh, he's going to wash it up the racetrack. He may even hit the outside wall. That was a close one there. Just tried to go in too deep, and he's going to lose some ground. Even though we've had all of that shuffling going on in the back of the field, as we got a battle here for 5th, or for 4th now, I should say. Tyree Cartman to the inside of Eric Monaco. Chase Buck, Ryan Madden, Zachary Fitzwater, Fisher G now in the points. Vlad Prescott moving himself in the points. I don't see... Yeah, Zidell fell back quite a bit. There's damage on the 23. Major damage on the 23 of William Brock. I'm wondering if William Brock and Joey Hightower got into an accident and it did not trigger the caution. It's very likely what happened there between those 2 drivers, as they both had to come down the pit lane. No yellow flags in this race. We're at the point of no return regardless, so hopefully we can keep this thing green until the end. Landon Smith Jr. trying to hold on to second. The 1-point swing right here, and every point's going to matter this season in this championship. Seth Cole going for his first points of the season as well. But Gary Corelli, already 16 points on the year, looking to almost double that here today. Take the points lead. Probably he's going to take the points lead by 10 points heading into Road America if he gets this race victory. I think Seth Cole's going to get it here. Landon Smith Jr. just washed it up the racetrack again. And there goes the 82 for second. Seth Cole, definitely a very experienced driver. He's had a very good race here today, and good run for him right there. Alfie in 4th there. Monaco back on Tyree Cartman for 5th. Last driver in points right now, Brennan Wilmington in the number 28. Has found himself just inside the top 10 late in the going here, as we have 2 laps to go here at Nashville. And Gary Corelli, 1.68 seconds, only unless something drastic happens. We saw Thomas Troxel blow a tire earlier on in this race. You never know what could happen. Corelli's going to take the white flag here in the Music City 100K. 1 to go at Nashville for Gary Corelli. Seth Cole in second. The battle's on for 3rd now. Christopher Alphaby, Landon Smith Jr. Will Alphaby get him? Oh, Landon Smith Jr. a little wide off the corner, and I think Alfie might have a shot here for that 3rd position on the final lap. It's going to be close. Alfie going to try to dive it in to turn number 3. Don't think he's going to get it. Gary Corelli will get the win. Corelli with his first ever feature win in the Wawa Pro Series. He gets the Music City 100K. Seth Cole, Landon Smith Jr. the podium. Christopher Alphabee, Eric Monaco, Tyree Cartman, Chase Buck, Ryan Madden, Brennan Wilmington, Chris Reynolds, all receiving championship points here today. Fitzwater fell outside there in the 59. That's a tough break for him. Fastest lap, Chase Buck will start on the pole for the sprint race at Road America. Chris Reynolds, Seth Cole, Brennan Wilmington, Vlad Prescott, Ben Young, Christopher Alphabee, Landon Smith Jr., Fisher G., Eric Monaco. And you see the rest of the fastest lap results there. That'll determine the starting lineup for the Wisconsin Sprint at Road America this weekend. Take a look at that right there. Another caution-free race, though, here at Nashville. But a good one. Gary Corelli, dominating performance after all that happened behind him in this race. Seth Cole there in second, Landon Smith Jr., Christopher Alphabee, Eric Monaco, Tyree Cartman, Chase Buck, Ryan Madden, Brennan Wilmington, and Chris Reynolds, all receiving championship points today. A lot of guys getting their first points of the season. As a matter of fact, I think 7 of those guys, Wilmington's got points, 6 of those guys getting their first points of the season. Seth Cole, Landon Smith Jr., Christopher Alphabee, Tyree Cartman, Chase Buck already has points, excuse me. Ryan Madden, and Chris Reynolds. Those guys all receiving their first points of the season here at Nashville. So we're left just a few guys who have yet to receive anything this season, and this championship battle will eventually form up as we get deeper into the season. We still have 22 races, 22 feature events left to go, so long ways to go before we crown a champion here in this series, but interesting race right there. Of course, Thomas Troxel had his issue, and then William Brock, Joey Hightower. If anything happened, you saw it at the corner. You saw it at the corner of your screen. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Definitely suspect an accident happened between those two guys. Both of those guys would have received championship points here today if they did not have their issues. Unfortunately, no points for him here at the Nashville Superspeedway. You see the starting lineup on the side of your screen for the Wisconsin Sprint from Road America. Already our second road course of the season. That's just the way it works out. Should be a fun one there around that 4-mile road course. Longest course on the circuit here for the Wawa Pro Series. And excited to see who gets it done there. Of course, you got some guys up there starting up front. Chase Buck could easily get that win at Road America in the sprint race and get that fastest lap. But then again, what we saw last year at Road America, Jesse Turner started in the back of the field, grabbed the fastest lap from the back of the field, and ended up winning the feature race. And that eventually gave him the championship. Of course, Road America at the first half of the season this year, very early on in the season compared to how late it was last season. It wasn't actually that long ago when we had the Wawa Pro Series at Road America. I think it was like 2.5 months ago when we were last there in the series. But hey, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys this weekend for all of that. I still don't know if IndyCar will go to Nashville. I'm sorry about that. But we will go to Michigan this weekend with IndyCar for the America 100, one of the crown jewel events for the Haas IndyCar Series. Definitely excited to see how that one goes for 50 laps around that 2-mile racetrack. But meanwhile, here in the Wawa Pro Series, Gary Corelli is going to be your new points leader. Here are the points for the Wawa Pro Series after the first 3 weekends. And we'll see you guys this weekend from Road America here in the HERS in the Wawa Pro Series. HERS Dash here is going to be at Chicagoland too. That'll be a fun race as well. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Congratulations to Gary Corelli for grabbing the race victory. And here are the point standings for the Wawa Pro Series after 3 feature races. We'll try to do better next time. I will see you guys later.